Very good afternoon to everybody on the line. Big welcome from Utah at this time. We wanted to extend a really great welcome to all of our CRAs that have joined with us today, everybody that has made the time to be on the line with us today. We also obviously like to welcome anybody that is not part of the TazWorks family at this stage today. It might be here just visiting or just being with us. We really appreciate the time that you've taken today to join us for this second webinar. Just taking into consideration that this is our second webinar. That this is our second webinar, our first one being based on the very basics of integrations, really talking at a high level about what integrations are, how we facilitate them, and what the strategy is around them. Today's webinar really is going to build on that, and we're going to talk a little bit about how TazWorks integrates with everyone in the ecosystem. I'd like to remind everyone that Adina and Brian are online at the moment taking questions. If you have any questions during this webinar, please feel free to flick them through in the chat box, and we will deal with them either in this particular webinar or at a later stage when we have the time. We will definitely get back to you on everything. All right, well, without further ado, we'd like to get moving. So the goals of this particular webinar today really is, we want to cover off with you what the top 3 integration methodologies are that TazWorks uses, and I just want to say something definitively. TazWorks connects to the world, and we're excited about it. We're moving faster into that space, but I just wanted to definitively say that to everyone. The next point that we wanted to cover off from a goal perspective is just how integrations connect an ATS or PMS to TazWorks. A lot of people ask those kinds of questions, and we want to deal with that for sure. We'll then transition into how Taz Support is becoming a powerful integrations tool. Obviously, it's designed to help you win with your clients and absolutely lead from the front with integrations and sales in this space. The last thing that we'll touch on is how to make integrations even smoother and more effective in the future. So just touching on the top 3 integration methodologies and how integrations connect, I'm going to be handing over to Jordan, who's actually going to take us through this piece. There you go, Jordan.
So thank you, Hans. As Hans mentioned, I want to go through just a couple of the ways that we connect you to everybody and some of the top methodologies there. So the first thing that we want to make sure is clear is that the way we can integrate to the world is because we have an API. So API, what it does is it allows any software to connect to another software that has an API. It's kind of the behind the scenes coding, how 2 systems talk to each other. So if a system has one, then they can connect to another system who has one. Okay, and that's really important to know because you can take our API, you can do anything you need to do as far as building integrations, and we can build those. And so for point number 1, of course, we build to an ATS as API is probably the most common way that we facilitate integrations. We love to do that. That's what we're currently working towards on a lot of new integrations. And as long as a system has an API, we can code to it. The second way that this typically happens is an ATS will code to our API. And that's very, very common as well. A lot of companies or platforms or applicant tracking systems, property management systems, they don't give us their API, but they'd rather just take ours and they would like to code to it and code to our system. So they'll do their own thing on their side. We'll just help them, we'll give them support, and they'll code to us. It's very common. And the third method is that we'll have a third party connect us. And these third parties, who they are, we'll talk a little bit more in depth. So I'm going to go through a couple more things and we'll circle back around on them. But that is also a very common method of connecting to APIs, to connecting TazWorks to another applicant tracking system or property management system. So the first most frequently used methodology is a legacy integration. So those are something that we'll talk about here briefly. The next is via third party, and also, of course, internally developed here with our SDK tool. And I'm going to touch on each of those now. So the legacy, of course, as you can see, something that we might need to, when you request an integration and you see that it's a legacy integration, it means that there's something that's happened there, and it's really more of a relationship thing. We've worked with them in the past, and each of those require a little bit of research. So it may, technology changes, they may have updated APIs, they may have new contacts, things like that. So each time you're dealing with a legacy integration, we really just need to research it and work with you on that and make sure we get you the most updated information on those. Third-party integrations, those are going to be integrations that are connected via third party, and the reasons we do that are, well, there's a few reasons. The first would be a certain third party has a really good relationship with an ATS, or they've already built an integration. They understand that process. Maybe they have access to their sandbox environment already. It really doesn't make sense to try and bypass that or go around it. They've already got everything in place, and they can do things very quickly. And I want to just quickly mention just a couple of those key third-party integrations that we have. One of those would be Taleo Enterprise Edition. We work closely with third-party Modulus Data. They are great partners, and they're wonderful to work with. So if you have any clients or prospects needing a Taleo Enterprise integration, we're happy to get that facilitated and have a great relationship with them there. Another is CPSG for Workday. We have a few of those going on right now. They already have that relationship with Workday, so we leverage that and get those facilitated for you. And then another good reason is TazWorks has a development pipeline. We have a queue of integrations, and we only have so many resources. If a client comes to you today and says, hey, I need an integration with such and such ATS right now because my client's gonna leave, or we got to get this done right now today, third party is a great option for that. So we can quickly get it done. There are some additional costs, but when it's a time thing, that's the most important aspect. So going on from there, when we talk about an SDK or internal development, we're talking about what that SDK stands for is Software Development Kit. And what that is, it's a little bit different than an API. It's more of a way that we can extrapolate or take out our code and make it easier for a developer to come in, not knowing all the intricate workings of our system and our organization and all the little details of the code. They can come in and take that software development kit and just get right up to speed right away immediately. So what the goal is with that is to be able to scale this massively. Instead of having 1 or 2 resources, we want to have 10 resources, or instead of doing 2 or 3 integrations at once, we want to be able to do 10, 15, as many as we need to. And that's what the SDK is really laying the groundwork for. So we're very excited about that. We're testing that, and we're building that now with all of our new integrations with the UltiPro, the NeoGov, the Bullhorn, all of these. They will be built with the SDK, and we're really rapidly ramping things up. So very exciting thing that I want to show you guys. We're actually very excited to talk through this next piece. This is how most integrations work. A lot of you have questions on, well, what's the typical process? How do these things work? What does it look like inside of an applicant tracking system? Well, we want to pull back the curtain a little bit, show you behind the scenes, and give you a little run through. And what we're going to do is actually go through the UltiPro integration and give you guys a little bit of insight on how that works. So first of all, just think of, in any applicant tracking system, this could be anything, okay? It doesn't have to be UltiPro, but this is a good example. We want to just think about the page where the recruiter will see a list of applicants or candidates. On that page, there's going to be somewhere where they can click and they can request a background check. And each one varies a little bit. and how they do it. And think about this for a property management system as well. It's very similar. You get a list of potential residents, and you can run a background check on them. So when they do that, it can take them to a little page where they'll choose their TazWorks product, and this product is just the exact product that you have set up inside of TazWorks. All we do is we pass them those package names. So there's nothing really fancy there, and it can just show in a drop down. They'll go ahead and select the product. It'll say that they've ordered it successfully, and then what will happen is we will ping the ATS or the property management system, and we will give them status updates, letting them know, what the progress is along the way. So it'll say it's in progress, it's pending, and then simultaneously a quick app email will go out to the candidate. This is probably the most common method for an integration. So the email will go out collecting all the information. A lot of times ATSs don't want to house sensitive PII like date of births and socials, things like that. So we will gather that on the quick app. It can pre-populate it with information, or we can just have them provide whatever they need for the background check. They'll sign their disclosure and authorization. It'll tell them they're done, give them a submission form. And then what'll happen is it'll update the ATS, and where they see view report, they can click view report, and they're just viewing a screenshot of the TazWorks report inside of UltiPro or whichever ATS it is. And this is how the vast majority of integrations work. So hopefully that's been insightful for you guys. And I'm sure there's a few more questions on that, but at this point, I want to turn it back over to Hans. He's got some more valuable information, and I'm going to go here real quick. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to give back the controls to him, and appreciate your time.
Thanks a million for that, Jordan. I know that that is incredibly interesting to everyone. I know that UltiPro has been long waited. Everyone's been waiting for UltiPro, and we're super close to being able to make that marketable, and obviously a bit of a weapon in your, or I suppose you could call it an arrow in your quiver when you're going out to win business with your clients. The third thing that I wanted to touch on really is this developing tool that we're working on, really making Taz support an area of excellence, really making it something that you can use as a definitive tool as you build your capacity to leverage integrations to really lead in this space and really drive the market. So if you have a look at the screen right now, you'll see the generic link to tazsupport.com. If I click on that link, basically what it does is it takes you to the screen that all of you know. Now, there's a caveat here. You need to be signed in with your email into support properly, that you can actually get into where I'm going to go right now. And if you click on user integrations, basically, I'm just going to take you for a quick run through here. And if you have a look at the integration library, there's a wealth of knowledge in here that you're obviously going to find very, very useful. And I want to say this to you, that we are working at this. We are working at this constantly. We're never. Just going to quickly check that we've got that everything is online. Hold on 1 second. Sorry for the technical glitch there. All right. Let me just go back. Let me just go back one step here for you real quick. All right. So I clicked on the Taz support link, and that just took us to TazWorks support. So most of you would know what this is. The caveat again, just make sure that you're logged in, and then click on user integrations right over here. This should take you into our library, and in the library you'll find a whole lot of different information that you might find interesting. So on the left-hand side, we've got a whole menu of things that are really pertinent to you. In the quick links, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So we know that a lot of the CRAs and a lot of you guys out there have been waiting for the integration fees. We've worked tirelessly on this, and on the 21st, we're actually having a webinar just to deal with this specifically. So don't hesitate to join up for that. We'd love to walk you through that, help you understand what we're thinking. and what it looks like. If I click on that, well, here it is. Here's a full list of pricing and everything else. If I go here to the commercial systems, a lot of CRAs, we field a lot of calls every day. CRAs calling us, which systems are you integrated with, and what kind of experience have you got with those ATS systems? Well, what we've done is we've created a list here to show you exactly who we're integrated with and how many times we've integrated with them. You can see on the right-hand side, so the relevant experience with them. It also shows you if it's legacy or third party, etc. Just exactly the things that Jordan's just been covering. Another really interesting link here that you guys might be really interested in is our targeted commercial systems. So the systems that we're targeting, in the next quarter or so. So, this is the list that we're working on. This is the list that we believe is incredibly strategic and will help you move your business forward. So, we invite you to really surf this, have a look at it. We're constantly working on it. Remember that the further we get into this, the more valuable information, the more valuable insights we're going to be posting. That's obviously going to help you build your knowledge around integrations, the sales process of integrations, and how this really will set you apart in the market as compared to your competitors. So just flicking back to this part, I just wanted to touch on briefly, how could we make things smoother? I mean, we're always looking for efficiencies, we're always looking for ways to add value, and we're always looking for ways to win with our clients. So what do we need from you guys right now? Knowing what drives you and your client's business. This is a massive piece of insight that we need, and really is part of our prioritization of who we integrate with, when we integrate with them, and how we integrate with them. Your strategy for growth. I'm not sure that we understand all of our CRA strategy for growth, and it is a big part of us making our decisions, and being able to share that with us, I believe, is really important. Your participation at TUG. Now, this might seem like a bit of a left field thing. For those who don't know, TUG is happening in May, and beyond the keynote addresses that integrations will be doing, and the breakout sessions that will be really niched and powerful, punchy and relevant to your world right now. We are opening our diaries to you guys, and we believe that we should be able to sit face to face and really understand what is going on. What are the real challenges you're facing, and how can we help you get across those? So using TUG to the best of your ability. Of course, ongoing learning and cooperation. Well, I mean, the learning piece, today's webinar is a part of that learning journey. And we recognize that this is a fast moving and fast changing environment. There's a lot of learning to be done. From a TazWorks perspective, we're always going to try and give you, our CRAs, as much as we can. Remember, there is a burden of responsibility on you too, to make sure that you're staying up to date with that. And then, of course, the cooperation. I can't value enough the kind of cooperation we've had, and I just the kind of cooperation we've enjoyed with a percentage of our CRAs really helped us to achieve some incredible milestones in relationship building with ATSs, understanding what really needs to be done first, and I mean, from participating at conferences together, to brainstorming, to sharing information, to helping us get APIs. This cooperation really helps us serve you better. So the bottom line for me, guys, really is that we become a formidable force, and by we, I mean TazWorks linked up with our amazing CRAs out there. We become a formidable force, as we gain insight and are able to make really valuable decisions in this limited resource environment that we all live in. So, really starting to wrap this up, we all believe that our futures are linked. I mean, we are linked at this point definitively, but we believe that our futures are linked. Just a little bit about where TazWorks is going. We're driving hard to be a sales-driven technology company. Now, you're going to hear that quite a bit. We've just recently employed Carla Knoll, who's an absolute champion in this space, and you're going to hear a little bit more about us being a sales-driven technology company. Everything we do, We want to make sure that it helps you sell and be successful with your clients. You know, that's the bottom line for us. You know, we want you guys to win. We want you guys to be leading the conversations out there, and we want you guys to feel like you're totally supported with the technology that you need to do that. Just to reiterate, you know, your success is our success. We cannot succeed without your success. And so we're all 100% committed to making sure that we do everything that we can to get you guys across the line as quickly and as efficiently as possible. You know, more integrated solutions are coming. That is our focus. The integrations team is growing. We have grown rapidly, and it's extraordinary. It's actually incredible how we've grown over the last little bit, and the demand is extraordinary. But I can tell you now that we have some really tight goals that we're pushing, and more integrated solutions that help you guys in the market are definitely coming. I think that, having said that more integration solutions are coming is really important in the context of what we're trying to do is move implementations as close to $0 for an implementation as possible. Now, that is part of our strategy. We understand and we see a day when an integration or an implementation of an integration should not be an impediment to closing a deal with your clients. You know, this we believe will give us a massive and significant comparative advantage, and will give you a talking point and a brand which will be significantly powerful when you're dealing with clients and trying to win business in RFPs and other environments. So we're committed to constant innovation, investment in team, tech, and relationship. We've demonstrated that, and we'll continue to show leadership in that space. And then, of course, again, that cooperation piece. You know, we believe that to win, we need to collaborate with you, our CRAs. We need to be an ecosystem, and we see that as probably one of the strongest parts of who we are. It's our network of CRAs that are willing to work with us. So wrapping this up definitively, just some reflections and some action points, you know, as we close this webinar right now. And really what I wanted to ask, some questions for you to take back potentially to your team, some of the things that you may want to talk to yourself about tonight, you know, on your drive home in your car. You know, how much deep insight on your clients' operations and strategy do you own? So how much of that insight do you really have? You know, how much time do you spend with your client knowing these kinds of things? You know, what pain points are your clients experiencing today? If you had a look at your top 100 clients, maybe out of the 1,000 that you have, or whatever the number is, your top 10 or 20 or 30% that, you know, drive your revenue, what are the big pain points that they're dealing with, and how is the market change affecting those pain points in their life? What ATS is your client using or not using? You know, understanding the kind of verticals that your clients work in. What kind of ATSs are they using, and are they using the right ATS, or could they be using a better ATS? Or if they're not using an ATS, how do we position them to use the right ATS, that they have a wonderful experience and a massive value add, and really make them sticky? You know, make your clients sticky in this sort of price challenged environment that we live in. You know, I suppose the fourth part is this, and it's a difficult one to answer, but you know, you need to ask it to yourself. You know, how are you positioning yourself as a technology partner for your clients by effectively working with TazWorks? In other words, teaming with TazWorks. Are you doing that? And are you changing and leading the conversation into a technology realm? Because really, that's where we need to be going. Background screening, of course, is our bread and butter, and it is incredibly valuable. It's what we do. But being a technology partner with your clients is really, really important going forward, especially with the rapid change that we're dealing with. You know, are you proactively leveraging integrations in your sales process? Well, we've spoken about that, and I demonstrated to you the Taz support tool that we're busy building out. We're going to constantly be putting information in there to help you leverage integrations to the degree that you need to constantly lead and set strategy and help your clients win too. Are you driving the market, or are you being driven? You know, waiting for the calls and waiting for those client demands and waiting for the fire. This is a definitive, I suppose it's philosophical, but not really. I think it's a business imperative that we find ourselves in the driving seat rather than being driven. And we all know how wonderful it feels to be driving instead of being driven. All right. Do you have a dedicated subject matter expert in-house that's tracking and informing your business on ATS and PMS issues? Now, that's an ask, and we find from a TazWorks perspective that having a dedicated person in-house in our CRA that's across the issues, able to talk at a level of technology, we just find that that brings huge efficiency to conversations, knowing what we're looking for, knowing what ATSs are looking for, knowing what clients need, absolutely streamlines this process and absolutely sets you apart as a leader and as a value add. And we're trying to position everything that we do to give you the benefit of adding massive value and being an absolute leader and a winner with your clients. The last thing that I wanted to say, and I suppose this is obvious, maybe not as obvious as we think, but are you sharing the insights that you're garnering in the industry with TazWorks? Sometimes allowing us to come out from behind the curtains actually is a huge benefit to you. Hopefully, we're able to add that massive value that we see and obviously want to continue doing in the future. Share those insights with us, help us prioritize correctly, help us understand your pain and the pain that your clients are feeling, and let's collaborate together to constantly build powerful and wonderful solutions.